Okay, so now we're going to go to the equipment stalls. So this lady here, she sells pre-made equipment that only costs you zenny. The first choice is to purchase armors. Or armors. First choice is weapons, and the second is armor. Alright, so here we can see various weapons you can buy. Generally speaking, she'll sell the village weapon, the bone weapon, and the iron weapon. In some cases, you might get more or less of a variety. Looks like for the hunting horn, you only get metal or town. There may not be a default bone one there. And then likewise for the various armors, of course you're going to want to get a full set of leather as early as possible and gem it up to gathering +1, or gathering +2 and win +2. In any case, there are some really great reference guides on Mindguard, the Mindguard forums. Just check them out for armor skills if you're really curious and you have a lot of time on your hands. And then, of course, the second option is just to sell the various equipment you have. Again, I wouldn't really recommend doing that in case you accidentally purchased 2 of something and you don't need it anymore. And really, the bulk of the game is going to be spent at the Wyverian Artisan. So he's got a whole bunch of options here. The first choice is to create a weapon from scratch using parts. Now, in general, this will require less money to make the weapon because you're not going to have to go through the various upgrades. However, it will require more rare parts to do so. So we can see here, this requires 2 gin horns to make a greatsword from scratch. However, I bet if we made it by just improving it, it would probably only require 1. Second choice is to create armor pieces. Of course, you always create armor pieces from scratch. If you want to make your life a little bit easier, you can press select, and that will open up, or that will sort the list according to only Blade Master, or press select again, and it will only be Gunner. And then again, pressing select again will open them both up. The third choice is, oh, let's go back. The third choice is actually, it's a really interesting one. It is the improvement screen. And the really interesting thing about Monster Hunter Portable 3rd is now can you not only improve weapons up the chain, but you can improve weapons damage as well using upgrade spheres. So I have here a pair of Giganox dual swords. They're pretty cool. They do a lot of poison damage over time just because of the amount of times that they hit. And if I want to upgrade the damage, I just take the upgrade sphere here and apply it, and suddenly the weapon is a lot more powerful. I think it went up by, what, 15 points? Which is, you know, a fair enough boost. Okay, oh, and I wanted to talk a little bit about upgrading bowguns. Of course, if you want to upgrade armor's defense, that's really easy. It just requires the standard armor sphere, and it goes up the line. But in terms of bowguns, they have a number of different options that might be confusing at first. For light bowguns, the first choice is for a silencer. And what a silencer does is it makes you less of a target to monsters in multiplayer, and also reduces the amount of recoil your shots have. So if you're firing a lot of status shots, it might be worth it to put a silencer on in order to reduce the recoil enough to fire them more rapidly. Likewise, you can also put on a power barrel. You can see here this will increase the damage by just a little bit. It will also increase the range. And in case it wasn't clear, your choice is either one or the other. So I can either have a power barrel on, or a silencer on, or a power barrel on, but I can't have both on. Then lastly, the final choice is just for adding a zoom scope. For the heavy bowgun, the option's a little bit different. The first choice adds a shield to the bowgun, which functions similar to the shield in Monster Hunter Tri, in that so long as you're not firing and you're facing towards the monster and your weapon is out, you will block automatically. Otherwise, you can put on a power barrel if you want to increase the damage and the distance. And then finally, again, the choice is to put on a zoom scope. Oh, no, I'm naked. That's okay. The fourth choice is to create and set decorations. The first choice is to create them. If you want to make your life a little bit easier when you're trying to create them, press select, and that'll show you the skill type rather than the other display, which is the name of the charm. So most of the time you're going to be going by the skill, so definitely press select to get this skill up. And just in case you didn't know, most of the basic decorations require a decoration sphere. But in general, there's going to be a lot of choices that are going to be limited to you until you get into a little bit more advanced quests. The white spheres, I believe, are the... Oh, those must be the more common ones. The blue ones are the more rare ones that have a lot of skills that you're used to being able to make right away. So it's going to be a little bit before you can make like attack charms and things like that, or attack decorations and things like that. The second choice is to slot them into a certain armor piece. So you see here, you see your slot, and then he just puts a list of all of the charms you have. I like this a lot better than the way it was set up in Try, where they were listed all over the place. So now you can see them right away. So if I want to put this charm in, it goes right in. If I want to take it out, it goes right out. And then finally, the last choice here, the fifth down the list, is just a rambling explanation of what he does. You're going to do this all the time, and it's going to take a... it's going to take forever to get through it every time you do it. And then finally, there is the feline equipment. So let me just get to my little paragraph here. Okay, this is a cat artisan, and his first choice is to assemble different weapons or armors for your cats. Now, the thing about assembling equipment for your cats is it not only requires money, but what I've called scraps to form as well. Now, you can get scraps by creating different weapons and armor, or you can actually convert monster pieces directly into it. So you can see here I have some things available to me. For some reason, I already have 2 scraps to make this big turkey leg. I don't really plan on making it. Although it has, I think that adds defense. In any case, you'll see here the various options that I went through before, whether it's how much attack power it has, whether it's piercing or blunt. Although you can see that from the listing anyways. The affinity, the sharpness, and then of course any special attributes as well. Like it looks here, like this probably does some fire damage as well. And that's actually some pretty decent fire damage. 16 is pretty good. Especially for a cat. It's not bad. Okay, so if you want to make any of that, we're going to have to create scraps somehow. So, oops. Second option. Main, feline artisan. Second option. First choice is to create from your inventory. So you see here, I don't really have anything to create scraps out of, so it's not that much of a help. But if we go to the second option, we can go through our chest. So if we see something here like, oh, look, I've got some wood, I can make some scraps that way. You can just do it directly from there. But I think the most useful use of the scrap menu is this third choice, which will actually show you all the various scraps that you have available to you. And by selecting one, we'll actually show you all the monster parts you have that can be used in the formation of scraps. So I believe this is the Baroth set. And you'll see that starting from the top, the less rare items will only give you 1 scrap. But as you go down the list, you'll be able to select items that will give you more. So this is probably a scalp, maybe? This is probably the scalp. I don't know what this is. Maybe a shell or something. If you select that, I'll get 2 scraps. If I select the top one, I only get 1 scrap. But in general, to make a full set, you'll need between 3 to 8 scraps. On average, about 6. Usually each piece takes about 2. But in any case, it's really easy to make feline armor sets. In general, I'd recommend doing it as soon as you fight a new monster and it's been fun. Not only does it make your felines look different, but it gives them different skills and it makes them a little bit more powerful. Oh, and then of course his last choice is another long-winded explanation, which takes forever to get through.